Hello there, science friends, and welcome back to the next video in the Earth Science lesson, Earth and Space Science. And just to remind you, last time we looked at our terms for the Earth, we talked about all the spheres that make up our atmosphere. We looked at some tables about the planets. And so now I want to walk you through a diagram of the Earth. If you could just take the planet out of the sky and cut into it, sort of like a boiled egg, you could see how these layers are structured. So you don't need to memorize the numbers here. I just want you to know for reference what the scales are and sort of just to be able to compare the layers of the Earth. And I want to first of all call your attention to the source of this image. This is from the National Geographic Society, and it is not to scale. So it doesn't show us exactly how the layers are related, but it's a pretty good diagram of what the Earth's interior looks like. So let's take a look at this sphere that we call Earth. And I think I'm going to start at the very outside and work our way inside. So we're going to start with the oceans and the continents, that outer layer. And that is called the crust. So I'm going to draw an arrow to this outer layer. And let's go ahead and label. This is called the crust. You think of a pizza that has a crust. The Earth also has a crust. And the crust is made up of the things we can see. The ocean floor and the land that we live on are parts of the crust. The crust is a layer called the lithosphere. You don't need to memorize these. I just want you to have seen them before. And I'm going to zoom in a little bit so you can see clearly. And the lithosphere is from 0 to 100 kilometers deep. And if you were raised in the United States, we learned about miles. So we would say it's from 0 to 62 miles deep. So if you dig down into the crust, you can go down 62 miles and still be in crust. I want you to think of a boiled egg here. Imagine that this is a boiled egg. The crust is the egg shell. It's that very thin layer that you can peel away if you have boiled the egg. So the crust compared to the other layers is very, very thin. Okay, the mantle, remember we're moving down into the Earth. So the mantle is going to be the next layer, and it is this red area. If we're using the analogy of the boiled egg, we're talking about the white part of the egg. It's very thick compared to the crust. And just like an egg, it's not the same thickness throughout. There may be areas of the egg white that are thinner and areas that are thicker. So the mantle varies sort of the same way. And here's the name, mantle. This is a different spelling than the mantle of your fireplace. That type of mantle is EL. So if you hang Christmas stockings up on the mantle, that's a different spelling. This is the mantle of the Earth. And the mantle has two major spheres. The first one is the Athena Sphere. And remember, anytime you see sphere, that's one of our morphemes. Anytime you see sphere, that means ball. So it's the Athena Sphere. And this one ranges from 100 to 350 kilometers down. Remember, the crust stopped at 100 kilometers, so this picks up at 100 kilometers and keeps going down into the Earth. Or from 62 to 217 miles. And I'm giving you both of these because some students know about miles and some know about kilometers. And this has the consistency of soft plastic. So if you think of anything that's made of a soft plastic, it's bendable, it's pliable. That is the texture, the consistency of the elements of the Athena Sphere. So if we keep going downward and we're still in the mantle, we're still in this red area, we get to the Mesosphere. And meso means middle. So this is the middle ball. This is the center layer as we're working down toward the core of the Earth. And the Mesosphere is from 350 to 2,900 kilometers, very thick layer, or 217 to 1,798 miles. So you can tell that just by those measurements that this is a very thick layer. And it has the consistency of stiff plastic. So the rock in this part of the Earth is not liquid. It is a plastic-like texture or consistency. So we have covered two of our layers. We have the crust, and let me just highlight these so you can see them. The crust goes with the continents, the oceans. The mantle is going to be this red area, and that has the Athena Sphere and the Mesosphere. So now I'm moving into this next layer. There are 4 of them that we need to talk about. So we're going to look at this orange layer. And if we're imagining the boiled egg, this is moving into the yolk of the egg, into the yellow part. And this is called the outer core. The outer core. And at this point, we are very deep into the Earth. We're moving down pretty far into the center of the Earth. I'll highlight this one in orange, so those will match up. And then some information about the outer core. It is 1,798 to, I'm sorry, I'm supposed to start with kilometers to keep this, I can't read my own handwriting, guys. 2,900 to 5,100 kilometers deep, or 1,798 to 3,162 miles deep. And this rock is in liquid form. It is melted molten rock. It's, if you've seen the images of a volcano where the lava is moving around, it's in a liquid state, this is the type of rock that you would find in the outer core. It's very hot in this part of the Earth, so it is a very, very uninhabitable place. You could not live in that area at all. Okay, the last one is going to be this very center, and I say the word center on purpose because center is another name for core. So this is the inner core, the very center of the Earth. And as you can imagine, it is extremely hot in the inner core. It's also solid rock because it is under so much pressure that it has solidified. So the inner core, let's get the depth first. If you want to get to the inner core, you would have to go down to 5,100 all the way down to 6,370 kilometers. Or 1798 to 3949 miles. Okay, so that's pretty deep down in the earth. And guys, I need to check my math on this. I'm not sure that I have that right. So you'll bear with me just a minute. I'm not going to try to pause because I'm afraid I'll lose you. And I'll show you how to do this if you would like to know how to do it. In fact, let me just do that for you. So what I'm wanting to check is this number right here. I want to make sure that that number of kilometers really equals that number of miles. And you can do this with a proportion. And to set this up, you would need, as all proportions are, you need that equal sign there. And I'm comparing kilometers to miles. Now, from many years of working with math, I know that 1 kilometer is approximately 0.62 miles. And I want to know about that 6370. So let's go ahead and put that right here and do this math. So we would multiply on a calculator those two numbers. And it is right. It comes out to be 3949.4 divided by 1 is 3949.4. So it is correct. It just didn't look correct to me, but I needed to show you how to do that proportion anyway. So it also lets us check out our numbers there and be sure that I had done those correctly. Okay, here is your diagram of the Earth with the 4 parts labeled. And again, you don't have to memorize all those numbers. It's just to help you understand how the Earth is structured. In the next video, we will look at another diagram similar to this one, but we'll be talking about the layers of the atmosphere. So I'll see you back here soon, and I hope you have a great day.